Two South Florida men who were caught on tape beating a homeless man.
It was one of the most gruesome murders ever.
A gruesome scene outside a South Florida home.
With 3 more arrests today, police now have 7 people in custody.
My name is Brian Thomas Cavanaugh. I am Chief of the Homicide Unit of the Broward County State Attorney's Office. My father was the greatest detective that I've ever seen.
Tom Cavanaugh was such a legendary cop, he inspired the hit TV show Kojak.
My name is Theo Kojak.
As one of my dad's detectives said at his wake, when you do what's right, you know what's right, you can have brass balls. How do you look a grieving family in the eye and tell them we failed? You don't want to fail, and that's what spurs you. That's what drives you.
Based upon the evidence you heard, are murderers.
It's as much a fear of failing as it is a quest to succeed.
Brian Cavanaugh is a take-no-prisoners prosecutor.
And he's trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You feel the case. You feel the pain. You feel the pathos. You absorb it. It becomes a part of you.
Any verdict is bittersweet. Everybody loses.
And you take that compassion and that becomes your passion. It comes out like a volcano.
Poppycock terrorized, confusing the issue.
He will eviscerate you.
It doesn't exonerate him one iota. He's just as guilty as sin.
That guy did it, and nobody else. There are no do-overs, and if a killer walks out of the courtroom having been found not guilty, he's free to do it again. The rest of the story isn't always told. We will take you through some of our most challenging cases.
The case of the Boston Strangler, everyone thought the case was closed.
I wasn't going to let this go.
What really happened to Anna Nicole Smith.
The judge has assigned Special Prosecutor Brian Cavanaugh to oversee the investigation.
At times, the trial seemed more like a Hollywood movie.
The killing was dramatized in a recent movie starring Kevin Spacey called Casino Jack.
The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Brian Cavanaugh says stand your ground is a recipe for escalating conflict.
Because there's nothing showing greater stupidity than a law that causes people to be shot dead when they wouldn't have been otherwise.
He tirelessly works for the innocent, too. Thank God for Brian Cavanaugh.
Evidence tossed out of court in the Lisa Nowak case.
Now, you need to hear the rest of the story. Have you heard those words before? What of it? So I wrote them!
Beating to death a homeless man.
The informant set the cops on that heroin drug running tenement. The informant's lips had been cut off, his nose had been cut off, his ears had been cut off. We'll take you to the scene of the crime. They were watching him coming out of his office and making a turn here. Reaches out and fires 5 shots. Isn't it coincidental? They happen to be right here within a several block radius right before and after he was killed. That physical evidence itself is going to speak of this murder.
Now, I had a gun on me, but I ain't sparked no gunfire.
He's full of shit, Bob.
Okay. I ain't sparked no gunfire back.
We spell it for you. S-H-I-T. If I'm a prosecutor, I want things to be clear.
Every witness told us that Callie put it together and that she and Omar executed the plan.
It's every man's business, it's every person's business. Not only to see that justice is done, but to know that justice is done.
A verdict where a man is murdered is dead. Can't be brought back.
I sentence you to life in prison.
This is the highest of stakes.